the West.
It is particularly noteworthy that non-Muslims living under Muslim rule were for the most part accorded privileged status and were protected right from the time of Muhammad through to the modern era.
In Muslim Spain, Muslim Portugal, Muslim Sicily, Muslims were in Switzerland for 100 years. Wherever they went, in Anatolia, among Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, they were very successful. When people got to know them, people tended to like them. They tended to be attracted to them.
It is only in the modern times, and that even in the last few decades, that one sees intolerance, sexism, and extremism manifest itself in parts of the Muslim world.
In the modern age, Muslims were disempowered. In the 19th century in particular, almost all parts of the Muslim world came under direct colonial rule. Even those that didn't come under colonial rule came under indirect colonial control, especially through banks, so that the Muslims lost their freedom. And in that process, we also see something very remarkable, and that is the sharp deterioration of the status of women.
Women's rights, guaranteed by the Quran and by the example of Prophet Muhammad, have been replaced by chauvinist, anti-Islamic ideas in some Muslim communities around the world. Terrorism, as a violent manifestation of extremism, is frequently associated with Muslims today. Yet this evil ideology is completely against the letter and spirit of Islam. The Quran states unequivocally that whosoever kills someone is as though he has killed all of humanity, and whosoever saves a life is as though he has saved all of humanity.
Muslims are, by the very nature of Islam itself, against terrorism, because Islam means finding peace through submission to the will of Allah. So therefore, terrorism, trying to intimidate people in order to get your point across, or to take over their land, or to drive them away, this very act is totally against Islam, and within Islamic law and lifestyle, terrorism is completely forbidden.
Terrorism, holy war, suicide bombings, these have no place in Islam. The term holy war is not to be found anywhere in the Quran or in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, and certainly nowhere in classical Islamic teachings. The vast majority of Muslims abhor violence and feel that their peaceful faith has been hijacked by the few extremely fanatical who are abusing Islam for their personal and political gains.
One of the problems in the Muslim world today is a cultural breakdown. The traditional cultures, which were very beautiful and generally extremely effective, they've broken down. And that's why it's very important also to see that a culture is created in the Muslim world that is worthy of the past.
I think in focusing on the positive aspects of Islam and the positive aspects of the West on both sides of the fence will be the most important factor in tearing that fence down so that we can actually live as neighbors, not in fear of each other, but in mutual respect.
So I think it's time that now we're in this part of the 21st century and we have the capability of destroying ourselves and the whole planet, that we need to reach out to each other to combat ignorance, to take off the veils of misunderstanding, and to join hands as a human race to save this planet and to make it a place for our children to dwell in into the future.
Ultimately, it is the responsibility of Muslims worldwide to reach out and take back the peaceful and progressive message of Islam. And it is the responsibility of both Muslims and non-Muslims to learn from one another, to dialogue and engage one another in a meaningful way, and to work with one another towards salam, towards peace.